Sure.
Thank you, Chair Frank.
Set now? You all ready now? I'm going to assume that's yes. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. City of Oxnard Planning Commission regular meeting for August 6, 2020. May we have roll call, please?
Chair Frank,
Here.
Commissioner Chavez,
Here.
Commissioner Dozier,
Here.
Commissioner Fearing, Commissioner Fearing, I can see you. If you could wave your hand for a yes. Commissioner Meyer.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Judge. We'll move to the allegiance. Commissioner Meyer. Can you read in the pledge, Commissioner Meyer?
Was that me? Chair Frank?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Everyone, please place your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic
and to the republic
and
for which it stands,
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to public comment. Item C on our agenda. Do we have any public comment? It's an opportunity to address the planning commission.
Chair Frank, we do have one. Let me call them.
Thank you.
Zero 5 7 5 8 0 3 9 8 is not available.
I'm sorry, Chair Frank, there is no answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else care to address the planning commission? We don't have any additional callers. Is that right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll move to item D on our consent agenda, approval of the minutes. So I don't think we can approve the minutes because Dozier and Fearing can't vote. So that leaves three of us. So we'll put those over until our next meeting. Moving on to item E. Any commissioners have any ex parte interaction with either of the applicants or items on our agenda this evening?
no.
Chavez, no.
No.
No ex parte communications.
Thank you, commissioners. All right, we'll move to item F, our first public hearing, F1. This is a special use permit for Mr. Shrimp Restaurant, planning and zoning permit number 20-510-01. And our planner is Randy Davis.
Thank you, Chairwoman Frank, and good evening, Planning Commissioners. Before you all today, we have the Mr. Shrimp Restaurant project. This is planning and zoning permit number 20-510-01, which is a special use permit for alcohol for an existing restaurant. The application was filed by Juvencio Rodriguez, applicant and business owner. This is a request to allow the sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption, consistent with ABC license type 41 that includes a 1,165 square foot dining area within a 3,553 square foot tenant space within a multi-tenant commercial building located at 250 South Ventura Road. The proposed hours of operation for this permit are Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. However, the current business plan doesn't intend to be open during these whole times, but by including broader hours, the applicants wouldn't need to ask us to modify the permit afterwards. The applicant currently intends to operate from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Some background on the project site. On November 1st, 2001, the Planning Commission approved Plan Development Permit number 01-522 for the construction of the existing commercial building. This project site is located on the southeast corner of 2nd Street and Ventura Road at 250 South Ventura Road. The zoning for the property is general commercial plan development, and the general plan land use designation is airport compatible. As for surrounding uses, there are some single-family residential properties to the north and east. There are vacant and residential properties to the west, as well as a vacant and undeveloped parcel to the south. And here is a street view from Ventura Road, looking southeast towards the project site.
I can't see anything.
The same, Madam Chair, neither can I.
Are you? Yeah, you're not in presentation mode.
Commissioners, can you see the slides?
No.
No.
We can see the slides.
No, I've been looking off of the one you were emailing, following along there.
Well, that's no good. People move.
Okay, we think we have the technical fix now.
There it is.
There we go.
Chair Frank, would you like us to back
Okay.
the presentation up a few slides?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. So continuing with the presentation, this is a request to allow for beer and wine for on-site consumption for an existing restaurant. Here is the location map. The project site is located on the southeast corner of 2nd Street and Ventura Road. And here are the zoning and general plan maps. The zoning is on the left and the general plan is on the right. Here's an aerial of some surrounding uses. As stated previously, there are some single-family residential properties to the north and east of the project site, as well as some single-family and vacant properties to the west, and a vacant and undeveloped parcel to the south. Here we have the street view from Ventura Road looking southeast towards the project site. And here we have the floor plan for the existing business. This is a 2,388 square foot market and kitchen area designated in yellow here. And there is a 1,165 square foot dining area shown here in blue. The remaining area of the floor plan is used for restrooms and storage. Here's a summary of the police report done on this project. The crime rate within 1,000 feet of the site is only 21% of the average for commercial properties citywide. As such, the site is not considered to be a policing problem, and no safety concerns were noted by a beat coordinator or neighboring businesses. There are also no establishments located within 1,000 feet of the project site that sell alcoholic beverages. Therefore, there's no undue concentration. In regards to community input, there was a virtual community workshop which was held on June 15th of this year. The Fremont South Neighborhood Chair spoke on behalf of the neighborhood. This chairperson conducted an independent survey where they received neighborhood's opinion for a beer and wine license at this location. The results of that survey are located in the packet as well as summarized in the next slide. Nearby business operators were contacted regarding this application and proposed operations. Of those interviewed, feedback was mixed. Some business operators believed selling alcoholic beverages might exacerbate existing homeless issues. Other business operators believed there would be no issues. To date, staff has not received any other concerns or public comments regarding the proposed project. In regards to the survey conducted by the neighborhood chair, some of the questions are summarized here. One of the questions was, what are some concerns you have, if any? These answers are listed here in order of popularity. So the most common response was patrons leaving under the influence, proximity to sensitive locations, and over-serving of patrons. Another question was, if a license were to be approved, what conditions do you think should be considered for the business, if any? The most popular answer was must cut off intoxicated patrons, followed by may not serve already intoxicated patrons, and must check ID of all patrons. To help alleviate any concerns, several conditions of approval have been incorporated into the draft resolution of approval, and here are some examples. All servers and their immediate supervisors shall complete a course in responsible beverage service approved by the Chief of Police within 60 days of license granting and/or date of employment. Sales of alcohol may only occur between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 p.m., and permittee shall install a video surveillance system that shall be maintained at a reasonable industry standard and shall be operated 24 hours a day. Staff believes there is no significant reason to oppose this application. Under the recommended operating conditions, we believe that the sales of alcoholic beverages for on-site consumption will have little, if any, adverse impact on the area. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the project as submitted, finding the project to be categorically exempt from environmental review pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, Guidelines Section 15301 for existing facilities, and approve resolution for Planning and Zoning Permit number 20-510-01, subject to certain findings and conditions. The applicant has agreed to all proposed conditions of approval, and we are here available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation? I'm not asking for it now. I'm just asking if he has one. Hello?
Oh, hello. I'll be speaking on Juvencio Rodriguez, the owner of Miss Shrimp, and we have a brief statement.
Okay, well, first, I just wanted to know if you planned on speaking. Commissioners, any questions of staff? Commissioner Myers said no. Okay.
No, Chair.
I have none either. All right, may the applicant come forward and give their presentation?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Sorry, this is Commissioner Chavez. I do have a couple of questions.
Staff? Commissioner, you have questions of staff?
Yes. Yes,
Go ahead.
thank you for the delay with the cameras. I'm curious for the staff, how many of the businesses were contacted in the area?
Unfortunately, I don't know that answer. Mr. Scott Swenson, are you available for that question?
Yes, I am. Commissioner Chavez, if I remember correctly, I talked to 5 business operators.
Okay, out of those 5, how many showed concern?
If I remember correctly, it was 2 had concerns, and it was tied to homeless issues and homeless loitering and their potential access to alcohol.
Okay, now when staff mentions that within 1,000 feet that there was no other alcohol establishments, isn't the Vons, 7-Eleven, CVS, Aldi, Shell gas station, all of those, aren't those within 1,000 feet?
No, they aren't.
Okay.
And Commissioner Chavez, I operate using a GIS map that has a 1,000-foot circle tool on it to outline where those sites are, and there were no other sites within that circle.
Okay, I appreciate that. Now, for staff, in regards to, and I know you don't have all the information about it because it wasn't a survey conducted by the city, but as far as the resident feedback goes, beside those 2 questions that were presented, were there any other concerns?
Yes, and it should be located within attachment F of the report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, staff.
Thank you. I have one issue it's my understanding that off-sale privileges will be prohibited here. At least that's according to the police report. But I'm not finding that provision in the resolution. I'm not finding that in the police conditions in the resolution. And I think that's a very important point. Actually, I think it's the most important point, especially when the neighbors are talking about attracting people to purchase alcohol. Won't be permitted. So that needs to be put into as a condition in the resolution. So with that, I have no other questions. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any public comments? Let's have the applicant, please. Wants to make a statement. Mr. Applicant.
Okay, so I'll be speaking on Juvencio Rodriguez. So he applied for the liquor license to sell in his restaurant, which has been operating over 2 years with dine-in opening more than a year. It is a family restaurant where we want to sell liquor alongside the food while growing the business. So liquor will only be available for purchase alongside a meal. We'll prohibit it being a bar or a cantina of some sort. And at the moment, during the pandemic, we are not dine-in, and we are not sure if we will be opening for dine-in during the pandemic. We will not allow alcohol until the pandemic is over. Thank you. And is there any questions?
I have no questions. Commissioners? Okay, thank you very much.
No questions.
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
Chavez
Okay,
with no questions.
Thank you. All right. Are there any public comments concerning this agenda item? Hello?
Michelle?
I understood there was a public comment on this agenda item.
Yes, Chair Frank, let me call.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Turan. This is Michelle with the Planning Commission.
Hi.
Hi, your 3-minute clock will start now.
Great. Thank you very much. Good evening, Chair Frank, commissioners. My name is Gabriel Turan. I'm the chair for the Fremont South Neighborhood Council. And as you can see in the attachment F that you have, a survey was conducted with our residents regarding this establishment having a license. The initial results show a close to 50-50 split. It was actually 52.9% said no, they were not in favor. 47.1% said they would be fine with it. In looking at the rest of the survey outcomes, it seemed that people more had concerns. And speaking as an individual, I feel that the concerns that were voiced by our residents seem to have been sufficiently satisfied by the work that the planning department has done and the work of Mr. Swenson. And so when this came up on June 15th, we didn't have any additional input from residents, and I attended that meeting as was mentioned. And since then, an additional opportunity for concerns or questions has been provided to my residents, and no additional questions or comments have come forward. With that, I believe that that means that our residents don't have anything additional to add. In the past, residents have opposed an off-sale establishment or an off-sale permit for this establishment, and that didn't happen. Now an on-sale with a different owner, it seems there's a little bit more support for that. I did see there was no spirits to be sold, only beer and wine, which is preferable. In regards to business owners worried about homeless individuals loitering around or having access to alcohol, it seems a little bit more unlikely that they would be hanging around at an on-sale establishment when the business owner has the ability to ask them to leave or deny them service. That being said, speaking as a neighborhood council chair, I will say that we do have an expectation that the business owner conduct themselves responsibly for their business. And you saw the concerns we had about patrons being overserved or leaving intoxicated, and that's part of the responsible beverage service training. We hope that the business owner and their employees will adhere to that strictly, and we will have high expectations of the business in providing our support for this. So I thank you for your time, and if there are any other questions or anything, feel free to contact me afterwards. You can contact Martha Guillen about how to contact me through the neighborhood council. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is that the extent of speakers, Madam Clerk?
That is the last of our public speakers.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
For the recommended action.
Okay. I'll second it, but I'd like to make sure that the resolution includes that Mr. Shrimp will be prohibited from off-sale privileges. Would you agree with that, Commissioner Chavez?
I agree.
Thank you. So I'll second with that provision. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Chavez?
Aye.
Chair Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Dozier?
Yes.
Commissioner Fearing?
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We'll move to item F2. This is the planning and zoning permit number 20-510-03, Performing Arts and Convention Center. It's an alcohol special use permit, and we have Jose Porto as our planner. Mr. Porto.
Good evening. Good evening, Planning Commissioners, Planning Commissioner Chair. Getting this PowerPoint loaded here. Okay, so before your consideration today is the Performing and Arts Convention Center PAC Planning and Zoning Permit 251003 for special use permit for alcohol at 800 Hobson Way. This permit was filed by Kevin Halford, the applicant. Project request is for the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits for on-site consumption, ABC license type 47, on-sale general eating place at the existing 65,834 square foot multi-building performing arts and convention center known as the PAC on an 11-acre property located at 800 Hobson Way. The proposed hours of operation are the following. Alcohol sales will be provided between 7 a.m. to midnight, where alcohol consumption will take place from 7 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. Historically, the existing Performing Arts and Convention Center PAC has been operating on day-use alcohol permits, meaning that the operator of the Performing Arts Center has to come to the city each and every time that they wish to have alcohol sales, and it's for one day only. Background on the site. On February 19th, 1960, a building permit was issued for the construction of a recreational community center building. Following that, on January 9th, 1967, a building permit was issued for the construction of a Performing Arts Center auditorium. And more recently, on February 18th, 2020, the City Council approved a facility management agreement between the city and Sterling Venue Ventures, LLC, for 5 years for operation of that site. Bringing in the location map here, it's located at 800 Hobson Way. It's an 11-acre site, and again, it is a pretty big multi-building performing arts center with 65,834 square feet. The 2030 general plan for this site is Park, PRK, located to your right there. The zoning designation is Community Reserve, CR, located on the left. The surrounding uses of the site on this map here located on the right, centered is the project site. That is the 11-acre site that you see there in hashing. To the north, you'll see medical office buildings. To both the west and the east, there is a park. And then to the south, there's residential housing units ranging from single family to garden apartment style. This is a view from 9th and Hobson Way looking northeast. This is one of the major entrances to the Performing Arts Center. Here we see on the site plan here on the right how the site is spread out. To the west is the auditorium, and then moving both north and east, there's banquet and meeting rooms. And then that blue area there is the youth center, and it's important to note that that is not a part of this special use permit for alcohol. Looking at the floor plan, as stated, the auditorium takes up the majority of the floor area with 42,346 square feet. There is 5 small community rooms ranging in size from 481 to 475 square feet. And the Ventura and Oxnard community rooms are the largest with a combined total of 12,464 square feet. Here on the right, we'll see where the alcohol service is to take place within the hashing area of blue. And then, as you can see down on the south end of this picture here, or the map, it'll show a patio and then also that youth center. That is not part of the alcohol servicing area. And another thing to note is that all of the alcohol consumption taking place on the site will be located behind existing gated areas. The police summary, the crime statistics, the crime rate within 1,000 feet of the site is 47% of the average for commercial property citywide, and that can be seen on the bar graph located to the right of this slide. The site was not considered to be a policing problem, no safety concerns noted by the beat coordinator or neighboring businesses. Concentration, there is one establishment named Once Stop Liquor that currently sells beer, wine, and distilled spirits for outside consumption, the ABC license type 21, within 300 feet or 1,000 feet of the project site. However, there is no presumption of undue concentration per local guidelines, as the PAC is located within a well-established performing art and convention center with area with low crime rate. And then another important thing to note is that if there was undue concentration, we would rebut this with the with the interest of public convenience or necessity, but that is not the issue here. Community input. On June 15, 2020, a community workshop was conducted and no members of the Hobson Park East neighborhood attended the workshop. Nearby business operators were contacted regarding this application and proposed operations. Of those interviewed, no one had concerns about the business selling alcoholic beverages. And to date, staff has not received any concerns or public comments regarding this project. Here on this slide, it's important to note that condition 13 and condition of approval 20 deal with responsible beverage service, with the first one being servers and supervisors shall complete a course in responsible beverage service. And then the second condition here, condition of approval number 20, is that a menu shall always be in operation and food shall always be served concurrently with alcohol beverage service. Following more on police department conditions here, this slide shows the security elements in place. Condition of approval 23 states that video surveillance system shall be maintained and fully operational 24 hours a day, whereas the condition at the bottom here, there's different conditions here that range in exactly the language, but they start on condition 29, 47 to 49, and 51, all dealing with security personnel present as required by Oxnard City Code and by the police department's designation. And then moving on to this slide, what's important here to note is condition of approval 45. The permittee shall have off-sale privileges of wine. This is in case there's some sort of event where there might be a wine vendor or something like that, and the guests want to go ahead and take alcoholic bottles for off-site consumption. So it all really would depend on the event. And then second of all, the permittee, part of condition 46, permittee may apply for one-day special use permits up to 6 times in a calendar year for special activities. These would usually range with holidays, New Year's Eve, Mother's Day, or any other designated special event to expand the hours of operation beyond the scope of this project. And it's important to note that the special use permit in this slide is not the same as the entitlements that we usually go for here. This is a licensing and police permit that basically, as long as they meet all of the criteria, they are granted that for one day with the limitation of 6 times per calendar year. Environmental review. We wish that this was exempt from California Environmental Quality Act CEQA, Section 15301, existing facilities. A notice of exemption will be filed with the county. And staff's recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve the project as submitted, finding the project to be categorically exempt from CEQA Guidelines Section 15301, existing facilities, and approve the draft resolution for planning and zoning permit number 251003, special use permit alcohol, subject to certain findings and conditions. That concludes this presentation. I'm available for comments, and so is Scott Swenson with the police department. And the applicant will be presenting their PowerPoint presentation following mine.
Very good. Thank you so much, commissioners. Any questions of staff?
None for me.
No. I have a question. Do you have any information as to why the project is being conditioned to allow for off-sale of wine?
Sure, Commissioner Frank, Chair. So basically, they want the option to go ahead and have that just in case they do have a special event dealing with, per se, a wine event where they have a wine tasting or something like that. The option is that whatever the vendors are there, they can go ahead and sell wine for off-site consumption. That's why that was included on there.
Okay, yeah, I've been to many of those kinds of events. I'm thinking that might want to be a little more specified in the condition. Just my thinking. And I also, am wondering why we're limiting their location for the alcohol service to that hatched area. Is the auditorium to get no bars? I mean, I went to the Joshua Bell concert there, and they had set up a bar inside the auditorium in the lobby area. They had a quartet playing beautiful music, and people were there enjoying, a cocktail or a glass of wine before the concert started. Obviously, nothing was allowed inside the auditorium, but I'm wondering, and patio too, what's the deal with not allowing the patio?
Chair Frank, I would like to ask Scott Swenson to go ahead and answer that question to seeing what the analysis was for the patio and then the restriction within the hashing area.
Yeah, thank you, because, the security provisions in this resolution are very rigid and require the security personnel to be at point of sale, exits, entrances, ticketed, make sure everyone's ticketed. So, yeah, I'm just curious.
Okay. Chair Frank, looking at the presentation on the screen, the area encircled by the dashed blue area, all is area where sale and consumption can occur. And it was designed that way so that service can be made in all places within the fenced area with the exception of the youth center.
I understand. Well, that leaves out the auditorium, yeah?
No, it does include the auditorium.
What's this?
So Chair Frank, this is Scott Colwitz chiming in here. The blue hashing in the upper right corner of the picture shows that the auditorium is within the blue hash marks. The portion that's in the bottom right corner is simply a detail showing the internal aspects of the building. But the intent is to allow sales to occur within the auditorium building.
Okay, I understand. That was difficult for me to see. Okay, and so what's the deal about the patio?
And the patio is also included.
So, well, it's the same with...
Well, there are several different patios here. So,
okay, so when you refer to the adjacent patio on page 3 of the staff report, paragraph 1 under general discussion, which patio are you considering to be the adjacent patio?
Chair Frank, this is Scott Colwitz again. So using the same image that's up on the screen right now on slide 9, the only patio that's excluded is the one immediately adjacent to the youth center. But as you traverse into the blue hatched area, there's a series of patios which are allowed to have alcohol service. Perfect.
So can we, instead of having the word adjacent patio, can it be a little more descriptive? The adjacent patio in direct proximity to the youth center, so that it's clear which one you're talking about?
Chair Frank, staff will review the conditions of approval because that's really going to be the guiding document opposed to the staff report. So we'll review the language in the resolution as the rest of the deliberations occur, as well as the applicant's presentation, and propose any clarifying remarks if we believe some will be helpful here.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think that would be very helpful because when I first read this, I went, gee, the patio is so beautiful. People would love to have their drinks in the patio. Okay, so that's all the questions I had of staff. Thank you so much. May we have the applicant do its presentation, please?
Good morning, or good afternoon or evening, everyone. This is Kevin Huppert. I'm the consultant in land use for Sterling Menu Ventures, and we are handling the ABC licensing as well as the land use consulting permit with the city of Oxnard. So thank you for having us. I also have Luann Ness and Lance Sterling, who's the owners here. Next slide, please, Jose. So these are the other locations that we currently have open and operating right now. The Canyon Agura Hills, Santa Clarita, Montclair, the Sabin in Beverly Hills, the Libby Bowl, and the Starlight Bowl. Currently they're open and operating. We had another, sorry, next slide. So as he said, it's 65,000 square feet performing arts center. That's our permit number. Our hours of alcohol sales are 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. Hours of alcohol consumption are 7 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. Security staff will be there at all times with video surveillance, and conditions will satisfy the PD requirements, and we will always have food with our beer, wine, and spirits. Next slide, Jose. This is the same floor plan we already went over. So the patio at the bottom next to the youth center will not be included. Everything else will be included for alcohol. We may not use all the rooms in a given night, but we want to include everything so that way when we do have an event in a certain room, we have the opportunity to use our license there. Next slide. Here's an example of our menu. So you see that we have a full menu, a vast array of options for customers to come and enjoy, and we also have desserts, and it meets the qualifications for the ABC and the city as well. Next slide, Jose.
You know, as long as you're right there, this is sit down dining?
We do have table, yes.
Okay, so it's not going up to a counter and ordering and bringing the food back?
Lance?
Yeah, I'm here. The sit-down dining is out on the patio.
Okay. And are there servers, or is it don't get your food up at the counter?
It is servers.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Please go on.
Next slide, Jose. And then here's just some facts about us. Sterling Venue Ventured has been honored to have been chosen by City of Oxnard to enter the agreement for this performing arts center. We know it's been here for a long time, and we are proud to be a part of this community. This company, which is solely owned in Ventura County resident, Mr. Sterling, who you just heard from, produces numerous concerts throughout a year. He's been doing this for years. And those are some of the locations that he's operating right now. The company's management team owns decades of experience in promotion, finance, and marketing, and the execution of concerts performed by national headline talent. I can always send you guys a list of their, next slide actually, sorry. Concerts produced are Smokey Robinson, Styx, Foreigner, Pat Benatar, Paul Mika, and many more, Mike Epps. And we look forward to being part of the community and adding value to the community and entertaining as many neighboring residents as well as Ventura County residents as possible. So we just thank you for the opportunity to present our case and to be part of this growing community.
Very nice. Commissioners, any questions of the applicant? Okay, I've got a nod. I've got shakes of the heads. Commissioner Chavez? Commissioner Chavez?
Sorry, delay with the mic. Thank you, Mr. Hufford, for the presentation. But I do have a question. Why are you guys trying to do pretty much a license versus the current situation where it's just pretty much day-to-day or event?
I can speak to that. The reason that I want a license is so I can have control over. There was too many multiple people coming in and doing events, and they were operating them differently. And my insurance covers me for my alcohol consumption, but it doesn't necessarily cover other people coming in.
Okay.
And we also were.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part, Mr. Sir.
No, and it just because we plan on doing probably 50, 60 concerts a year there, it would become cumbersome to be able to apply for each one.
Yeah, and there's only a certain number you're allowed for ABC out of a given location per year. So.
Okay.
And if this, just so you guys know,
That's it.
This license cannot be transferred or sold because it's on government land.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I have no questions. So thank you very much for your presentation and for coming to Oxnard and helping us get back up and running again. I appreciate it. All right. Do we have any public comment on this item?
Yes, Chair Frank, we have one. Let me call.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Ms. Brown. This is Michelle with the Planning Commission. I'm going to go ahead and start your 3-minute clock.
Yes. I would like you to know, first of all, that the chair's, her speaker is very muffled, and it's very, very difficult. It sounds like she's underwater, talking underwater, like in a swimming pool or something, underwater. And so it's very, very muffled, so it's hard for people to understand. That may be why she's not getting the responses the way she would expect. On this particular topic, I have had experiences with parties with young adults and their teenage kids. In other words, you have fellas that are and women that are in their 40s and that kind of thing, and they have teenage children along with them at the parties, at weddings, and that sort of thing, where the parents are allowing their children, their teenagers, to drink. And when I would come up and say, I'm sorry, but we can't do that, that's not part of our permit, they would just go bonkers. And they even wanted to carry drinks out with them when they left to go get in their car. They wanted to carry the drinks so that they could drink while they were in the car. And we didn't allow that either. And I'm wondering, how are you going to prevent this from happening? Because you've got, over 1,000 people in the auditorium. And how are you going to control drinks not going in there? And with all of the people, they kind of jam up when it's time to go in. Everybody jams up at the doors and wants to hurry up and get in there. And so how can you control all those people with their alcoholic beverages going in and with their kids, once they get in the seat, can hand it to their kid and let their kid drink the whole thing if they want? How can you control that? Because it's all in the dark. Just want to know. Thank you.
Is that the extent of our public comment?
That is our only public comment.
Do I sound muffled to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I'll muffle on.
You sound fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, commissioners, do I have a motion? I'll move to approve.
Second.
May I inquire? Yes, Scott, tell me about the conditions.
Yeah, Chair Frank, so in the staff report, there on page 3, there was some language talking about the location of where this permit is allowed. And it says the site under the purview of this permit will include the auditorium and the adjacent contiguous meeting rooms within the gated area of the facility. The permitted area does not include the youth center or the adjacent patio. And I think it's that last portion of the youth center or the adjacent patio. And we would propose to slightly alter that end sentence so it reads, the permitted area does not include the youth center or the patio adjacent to the youth center. And then take that language and essentially introduce it as a new condition under police department special conditions. It would be number 5, and then we would just renumber the remaining conditions.
Right, good. That way there's no confusion. All right, so with that addition, I'll modify my motion to include that condition to be included in the resolution. So Commissioner Fearing, you still second?
I still second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Frank, a second by Fearing. Can we have roll call, please?
Chair Frank,
Yes.
Commissioner Fearing,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dozier,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
There you go. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
All right. We'll move on to item G. Study session reports. Do we have any study session reports? I don't think so.
None from staff.
Thank you. Move to item H, Planning Commission business. Any commissioners have some business? Commissioner Chavez.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank my fellow commissioners and to thank staff. This month, almost 1 year of sitting on this commission with all of you, and a very exciting year. It has been a year, August 1st of 2019. So it went very, very quick, but it has been very exciting. When you think about the first month that I was on the commission, we had the STRs, we had cannabis, and then we also had Fisherman's Wharf. So a normal person would have ran for the hills, but I stuck around. And also today also is my birthday, to share my birthday with you all tonight. And as you guys can see, my attire that I worked today also. But I just wanted to take that opportunity to thank my fellow commissioners for assisting me throughout this year. You know, we still have 2 more years on my term, and hopefully after that I will be appointed by the council member. So thank you to my fellow commissioners. Thank you for staff and all their assistance along the way. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
That's wonderful.
Here, here.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just had one comment.
Sure.
Commissioner Dozier. And I just wanted to thank the public. There are a few people watching us online, and for those that really take the time to communicate via this new method, and that just kind of shows that we have a lot of people within our community that really care about how the city's run. So I just wanted to say thanks to the public for taking that extra step to stay in touch with us. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, thank you. You guys are just a great commission, I'm telling you. It's really, it's great. It's great. So anyone else have any news? All right, I have news. I pulled my papers today to run for mayor.
Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So I think I need to do that. Okay, so let's move to item I on our agenda, community development staff updates. Scott?
Chair Frank, thank you for that introduction. I don't know how I'm going to be able to beat any of that. So happy birthday, happy staying on our commission, happy running for office. Wish you all the best with all your endeavors. In terms of staff happenings since we've last met, there's been a couple. So let me take you through a couple of city council meetings as well as a couple of director hearings. So July 21st, the city council met and they had a couple of actions. One was to, they received notification that the Sakioka Farms business, excuse me, I can't speak tonight. The Sakioka Farms Business Park Specific Plan final map was going to be presented to the Community Development Director and signed and be approved. So that is something that's in motion right now, and in a short order of time, the lots that you all reviewed as part of the Sakioka Farms project will be available for sale. So that was a big item for us. In addition to that, on that evening, the City Council reviewed the ordinance amendments relative to the accessory dwelling units, the industrial code changes, and the cannabis code changes. And the City Council approved those requests that evening as well. So we're in the process of finalizing all that in terms of second readings and making all those official parts of the Oxnard City Code. So thank you for your participation in that. No changes were made to any of those regulations by the City Council. So everything that you adopted was adopted by them. As we jump forward, on July 28th, the director reviewed our first of our Sakioka Farm Business Park projects. So on the 28th, we reviewed and approved a development design review permit for what's called the Project Bruin. It's a rather large building. It's a 2.3 million square foot building. That is going through our plan check process as well right now. And you're likely to see some grading start in the near future out there for the associated roadways, followed by pads and other things for those projects. So know that your hand in this project process is paying off. It's great to actually see development happen because of the work you did. So enjoy watching that both as you pass it on the freeway as well as going back and forth on Rice and Del Norte. Continuing with the themes of getting things done, on July 29th, the City Council also took on a couple other actions. We just mentioned the short-term rental item that Commissioner Chavez participated on when he first began here. On the 29th, we authorized a contract for monitoring for the short-term rentals. So that's now in process, and we're getting that whole implementation system up and running ahead of the actual ordinance themselves. And fees were established for the short-term rental permits. So all that's in motion as we speak. The other item that happened that evening was the City Council reviewed the 7-Eleven appeal. This was the project at 2900 Saviors Road. And the City Council denied that appeal unanimously. So please know that there was a strong outpouring from the community. We had roughly 40 different comment letters come in before the meeting. And I lost count, but I think we were about 25 to 30 different public speakers that engaged in that evening. So it was a very robust dialogue, and the council appreciated the work that all of you did with recommending the denial. And then the final action to share with you, July 30th, the Community Development Director also had a hearing where we reviewed and approved our first project to implement the downtown code. So the Billboard Lofts project is a 5-story mixed-use project, roughly 4,500 square feet of commercial space on the ground floor, 55 units above on a podium structure at the corner of 8th and A. That has now been approved, and that applicant is very motivated to move through with their project. So they're anticipating breaking ground at that location in the next 6 to 8 months. So there's a lot happening within the city, even during the times of COVID. We could not get through it without all of you. So thank you for what you're doing in your voluntary capacity. Staff very much appreciates every single one of you.
Scott?
Yes.
8th and A, are those apartments or condos?
All apartments.
Nice, okay. Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have anything they want to share? No? Okay, we'll stand adjourned then. Thank you very much. Looks like our next
Good night.
meeting.
Thank you.
You have
Good
a
night.
good
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Hey, boy.
Happy birthday.
All right, good night.
Good night, everyone.